pasa un torrente como vuelo tocororo para todos, manantial de esperanzas, va provocando sonrisas, se hace presente en la casa, bendición de Dios, agua de vida. Un tesoro en la cocina, un tesoro que cuidar, surtidor y manantial refresca y sacia la sed. Para la familia es rostro de amor y sanidad, va regalando alegrías como expresión de unidad. Bendición de Dios, agua de vida, gota a gota nace el riachuelo, a vivir juntos debemos aprender y que no sea de unos pocos privilegio lo que en comunidad hay que tener para toda Cuba. Un tesoro en la cocina por la gracia de Dios tuve, que la quiere María, también José. Para todos los cubanos, qué bueno es. Para toda Cuba. Rostro de amor y sanidad, expresión de unidad, refresca el agua de vida. Para mi Cuba.
¿A ti te gusta el agua? A mí me gusta, a mí me encanta. Gracias al proyecto Living Wash podemos compartir el agua limpia a todas las personas. 22 de marzo, Día Mundial del Agua. ¡Aprovechalo!
Oh, I love that introduction from Sashi, welcoming us all to World Water Day. Happy World Water Day, Doug.
Happy World Water Day. Back at it.
Yeah, what a day we're having. Coming together as a community, raising awareness about what Living Waters for the World partners are doing to answer that need for clean water around the world. And, you know, none of us can do this alone. And so we're so grateful to have generous donors like all of y'all, fellow travelers on this journey. And you all are really our heroes. So I want to thank everyone for sharing the blessing. You know, as I see all those pictures of that photo collage, I'm going to those places, Liberia and Cuba and El Salvador and the Yucatan and Guatemala, Honduras, all the places. We have pictures from all over, and you see happy, smiling children and grandmothers and partners just side by side. It's really beautiful, isn't it?
It is. And for some reason, I did, actually not for some reason, but I did too on this one, especially because one of our guests, I saw her in a bunch of the pictures, and I was in a bunch of those pictures with her as well. And yeah, it took me to those places.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I saw a little boy named James from Liberia, very special little one. And I'm so glad that he has purified water to drink now and he's going to school. And then some partners that we'll see a video of from later in this segment from Cuba. And to see that despite all of the difficulties that are going on, in a place, in a country, there they are showing up together at church, being the church, and welcoming everyone in. The door is wide open, and good news is being shared. Purified water is being shared. Whatever they have, that's what they're sharing. Medicine, food, whatever it takes to get someone through, and that's how we all make it together. Is by that sharing. So it's been a real opportunity for us today to be heroes, our heroes, our donors, and it's a great day, especially because our donations are all going to be multiplied, so that doubles the impact that we have. So tell us a little bit about that, Doug.
Yeah, so we have a generous donor that has donated a matching donation of $25,000. So everything up to $25,000 is going to be doubled. I don't know where we're at this moment. We were over the halfway point last time we checked in. So we'll get a check-in shortly here and hopefully get much closer to that 25,000, maybe try to get over it tonight. We got until midnight, so we got a few more hours Central Time. Our West Coast people have a bunch more hours, so
that's right.
Get those in.
I trust we're going to make it. I do. We've already heard from so many heroes today. We want to say thank you. If you haven't had a chance to give yet, there's still time. No amount is too small or too big. Feel free to give what you can. All gifts, any sizes are welcome. And Emily's going to drop that link in our comments. So we give thanks for the Living Waters for the World community, just coming together today and really, what we're saying by giving is we're saying that all God's children need clean water to drink, and we're going to work to make that a reality. And I want to point out what's already going on. And that is over 1,100 water partnerships in 28 countries. So that's from right here in the United States, where a lot of us are, to 27 other countries in Central America and South America and the Caribbean and Africa and Asia. We have partners all over, and they're sharing sustainable clean water. They're sharing the good news that God loves us all. It doesn't matter where we live. There are no boundaries to God's love. God's love goes everywhere, just as water flows freely. So we're grateful for everyone coming together. This is I'm thinking about that multiplication. This is real loaves and fishes kind of stuff. So we're picturing it, clean water flowing. Who knows the impact that's going to have, because kids and teachers are going to school more because they're healthier. They're not having to stay home as often because they're sick. They're playing, they're studying, they're growing, they're making a difference in their own neighborhood. And it all began because someone cared enough to share a blessing. And I heard today from one of our operators in Cuba, Olga, and she said that may God allow many more families to benefit from healthy, purified water, and let's work together to achieve that. And so we say amen to that, Olga. We're grateful for you. So before we get to our guests, let's do an update. So at the end of our last segment, just to remind us where we were, we ended that segment at 4 p.m. Central Time, and we were at $14,290. So well over that halfway mark. It's a good place to be by 4 p.m. And right now, we are at $17,740. So we're closing in And we've had a lot of faithful donors who've, and we've made some real headway together on that 25,000 goal. But y'all, we still have a way to go before midnight, whatever that is in your time zone. So I want to issue a challenge to everybody who's listening. If you've made a donation already, thank you for that. There are plenty of things that you could have spent your hard-earned money on, and that you could be spending your time on as well. But you've chosen to give to help somebody else have sustainable, clean water. So here's what I'd ask you to do if you've already given. Feel free to give again, make a donation in honor or in memory of someone. I love to do that on days like today. But how about if you were to send someone a quick text and invite them to be a part as well? Let them know, hey, I gave to this organization today. That's not bragging. That's about what you did. That's sharing an opportunity. And I like it when friends do that for me. They share something that they're passionate about, and they give me a chance to also get involved. So we'd appreciate it if you do that. And I think it'd be really cool if we had, 25 new donors who've never given to Living Waters for the World before, donate on World Water Day 2024. It's a good day to give because your giving's going to be doubled. If you haven't given yet, now's your chance. So click that link in the comments there and come on and join us. So we're going to make a real hard push together during this next segment, and we're going to see where we land by midnight, and we'll keep you all in the loop on that. So I want to give a shout out to our donors for this segment who've given since the last shout out that we gave. We have Steve. Thank you, Steve. Rebecca. Thank you, Becca. Appreciate that. Bill and Jennifer, we always appreciate your faithfulness. Nancy, Elisa, thank you. I'm going to see you in April. Karen, Deborah, Valerie, Thomas, Albert, Ann, Bill, Lee, Mary Ellen, thank you. Lori, Thomas, Art, we appreciate you, Art, out there out west. And so the one thing that we want to reiterate and on time. So how about if we bring out our first guest?
Yeah, that'd be great. Be great. Our first guest, she wears a few different hats for Living Waters of the World. She was at one point the moderator for the Yucatan Network. She is a current Clean Water U instructor and also a leader for her Presbytery Living Waters team that works here in the Yucatan. And I got to see her on Tuesday and seeing her again today. So this has been a good week. Joni Lukens joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Thank you, Kendall. Yeah, I saw Doug on Tuesday on my way out of Mexico, where we had been for 10 days, visiting many of our partners. I think we visited 12 partners, which is not very long at each spot and a lot of traveling, but oh my goodness, the welcome that we had from our partners. A couple of insights about that, or stories, you might say. One of the things I realized is that our oldest partners are still churning out clean water, even with equipment that's not up to date. We're working hard to bring them up to date. But even when they're not, as shiny and new as some of our newest systems, they're still faithful. And that faithfulness is what makes this work. I think Eugene Peterson calls that a long obedience in the same direction. And it's wonderful to see a system that we put in about 2005. Oh my goodness, still doing 500 bottles a week and clean water, good water. The plant might not be gorgeous, but the water be faithful. That's worth rewarding. That's worth commenting upon. The other thing I realized, and Doug, you'll like this story, is how much they truly love us. And there's one particular little girl in a little town called San Jose Carpizo. Her name is Naomi. And when we arrived, she was all smiles and almost trembling with happiness. And then she learned that Doug wasn't with us. and her little face just fell. It took us a long time to get her smile back because she missed you and she had thought you were coming with us. So Doug, you got to do that next time.
Yeah, I do. I get messages from her and her mom. They sent me a great happy Valentine's. When there's events at her school, I get pictures of all her events, and yeah, I'll write her a message.
She's amazing. Her whole family is amazing.
She's actually, people are going to recognize her a little bit. She's on the cover of our annual report.
Yes, I did notice that, and I'm going to try to get a copy to her with the next, team that goes down to the Yucatan. So.
Yep.
That was great.
I love that. Yeah, we'll have to share that annual report, covering all on our Facebook page and make sure everybody sees that. And those relationships, just the way God works, connecting us to one another and to be remembered in that fond way and to be missed when we're not there. I really appreciate that. I've had some of our partners treat me as a daughter, or the younger people there speak to me very respectfully and call me mother, because that is the culture. Like in Liberia, to refer to an older person as mom. And that's it's beyond endearing. It feels very, very like an honor, very, very special. So,
a lot of relationships like that, and the camaraderie and the sense of purpose that we share. It's not just our purpose, Living Waters for the World, to install water systems. It's their purpose as well. I mean, it's very shared, and they are as dedicated to it as we are, and more so because they're there 365 days a year, and we can't be there all that time. So I think it's quite amazing. And the phrase from Scripture, abundantly more than all we could ask or imagine, that's what we see in our partners, what they're doing with what they have. We visited one of our newest systems, and it was still sparkling. Oh my goodness, it was gorgeous at Pomuch, Doug. You'll recognize that one. And then we visited some of our very old ones, and they weren't as pretty. Just like as we age, we're not as pretty, right? But they're still so.
But we're wiser.
One would hope. One would hope, yes. Yeah. So it's a beautiful trip. A lot of sharing of stories and sharing of love and sharing of ideas about Living Waters and how we can improve, and things that they would like to see in their network. So I really appreciate that and their input. And we listen. And I think they know that we listen. And that's good. We're not trying to impose our ideas or our goals on them. We're listening to them as well. So that's great. Feels good.
They're the experts. And so it's wonderful to be surrounded by that expertise when people are freely sharing, here's something that we tried and it worked well here. Maybe another partner would like to, try this out and adapt it to their setting, because we should always, with all of our resources, be looking to do better work, a better job together. And how can we collaborate, and how can we be a better team and communicate better and share those better practices? So I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of Living Waters for the World, and the networks in which we work, so that we can share those better practices.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you made the comment about them being the experts, I always think back to something Joni. I learned this from Joni and all the trips is once the install happens, the hard work is on them.
Oh yeah.
We do kind of the easy work to kind of help there and to get started, but the day-to-day, they're the ones operating it, and that's how they become the experts, because they're the ones doing it on a daily basis.
Yeah. In fact, my team, I like to think that my team is half Americans or North Americans and half Mexican, which it truly is. Because when we put in a system or do a rehabilitation of a system, our Mexican partners are the one doing the actual work, and that includes the education. And we're there to support and to learn from them. And at this point, they know better than we know what is going to impact their community. And so we just get to let it go and watch it happen. So it's just a joy.
Yeah. And I think that leads us perfectly to our first video. We've got a video from Cuba about water. It's a song they created about water. It's entitled "Why God Created Water," and that's the thing. And Joni, you mentioned the kind of the experts and that kind of stuff, and I think of, and we've seen now in other networks, the water drop. In the Yucatan network at our conferences, our health educators have created a big outfit that's a water drop, and that always attends the conferences. And it's those type of things that our in-country people, our partners in country, create on their own accord. And so this video is one of those things. It's
Cool.
a song about water that they created. Let's take a quick look at that.
Yay. I'm going to ask if Doug will interpret that song for us.
Yep. So like I said, it's called "Why God Created Water," and they're talking about why God created water to drink. So when we're thirsty, to wash our clothing, and it's not all about purified water, but it's just water in general, to clean our clothing, to prepare our foods, to give water to animals, to have at the beach to enjoy. And so God created water for us to enjoy.
That's a sweet song. I love that. So that partnership is in Cuba. That's at Juanji Hall in Cardenas. And the partners here in the US are St. Charles Avenue Pres. Shout out to them down in New Orleans. They've been partners going all the way back. That implementation happened in November 2012, so well over a decade ago. I was just at that partnership in December, having lunch with the Alison, who was there playing the guitar, and got to see that stage. And to think of the children from the neighborhood coming in and getting some water, having a Bible study, doing some fun coloring, just having fun together, dancing, learning, hearing Bible stories. That's what they do every weekend. They get together, and what a beautiful gathering to see the kids singing and to know that they're in that safe, loving environment. It's really, really very special. So I'm wondering if we might want to go ahead and bring on our second guest. We were saying backstage that we have the Kentucky contingent with us today. I'm originally from Kentucky. Joni's in Kentucky, and Bob Swope is with us. Bob Swope is a partner in Guatemala. And Bob, how long have you been a part of Living Waters for the World?
Oh my!
I don't know if we count such things.
Yeah, I guess it goes back to at least 2007 when our team first attended Clean Water U. But even maybe before that, when in 2005 our Rotary Club decided to do an international water project. And it was shortly after that we actually met with Joni Lukens, came over to tell us all about what Living Waters for the World does. And so I've been involved for, gosh, going on 19 years, I guess.
So it's Joni's fault. She came over and talked to you.
It's my
You did.
fault, and I'm so happy to claim that.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I did not realize that connection that Joni had come over to talk to you, but she's not that far away from you. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of us hear about Living Waters for the World from that word of mouth, don't we? A friend tells us, and then we get involved, and then we tell others. So, Bob, we'd love to hear from you. We've just heard from Joni. She was just back from a visit with partners. If you could just share a little bit about your partnerships in Guatemala, maybe what stands out for you, or why you've been involved for so long and so many partnerships.
Well, we're getting ready to go back in about 3 weeks to visit some of our partners.
Wow.
I guess it's about 4 weeks now, but we have done over the years 30 installations. And so we've got a lot of partners that we try to stay in touch with. 3 of those have fallen by the wayside, but 27 of them are still producing clean water, going strong.
Wow.
And we look forward to those follow-up visits. In our covenant agreement, we agree to come back every year for 3 years, but when we have sat down with our partners and said, well, the goal has been for them to be completely self-sustainable at the end of that 3-year period. We review with them the success of the partnership and the relationship and their project. And in most cases, they've met that goal of being completely self-sustainable. But then we ask them if, do they want to continue the relationship, or should we say our goodbyes and just pat them on the back and wish them well?
Mm-hmm.
We have yet to have one of those partners say, yeah, well, let's say goodbye. We don't care to see you anymore. So we try to get back to every one of them as often as we can. We're not getting to all of them every year, but we are staying in touch every year with our covenants, our partners that are still in that 3-year covenant period.
Yeah.
So we've made some tremendous friends over the years, folks that we look forward to seeing as often as we can. And when we can't get there in person, we will communicate with them virtually on Zoom, if that's possible. It's a very rewarding and enjoyable part of the project for me, just to get to see those folks as often as we can.
With the number of partners you have, I'm wondering what some of the unique partnerships you have, because Guatemala has some unique partnerships going on. Yeah.
Well, most of our partners are churches, but we have installed systems in a health clinic. One of those unique partners would be Casa Materna, which is in Huehuetenango, the city of Huehuetenango. And Casa Materna is a clinic for expectant mothers who many times come down out of the mountains that are getting close to delivery, and they'll spend the last week or two, or maybe a little longer, getting ready for delivery, and they're right across the street from the National Hospital. But interestingly, we learned that when the mothers are ready to deliver, they're walked right across the street to the National Hospital. But the National Hospital does not provide clean water to their patients. It's not a part of their delivery system. If they want clean water, they got to bring it with them.
Ooh.
And so Casa Materna furnishes the clean water for all of their
Thank goodness.
patients that are ready to deliver their babies. And that system was installed in, I think, 2010. So they've been doing that for quite a few years now.
Yeah, all those kids that were born back then, they're all grown.
Yeah, exactly.
And It's a very important thing. We heard earlier today, we had a visit from the Valentines. They just got back from Ghana. Y'all might recall that they are at Idlewild in Memphis. Long partnerships, been involved with Living Waters for the World for quite a while. And they too have a partnership with a clinic. And to see those numbers growing, the number of women who are safely delivering their giving birth, having access to purified water during that real vulnerable time. Oh, I think back to all those years ago. That was one thing that I didn't have to worry about, when I had my kids, was whether they were going to be safe with the water that they were using at the hospital. So what a gift.
Yeah, I think that's something we really take for granted. We heard the story from Ghana. We're talking what Bob did. I know I worked with a team in Cuba, and we installed a clean water system in a pediatric hospital.
Yeah, that's
right.
And
I can't imagine a hospital setting without clean water. That just seems basic. But it's the reality for a lot of places all over the world. And it's a real game changer to be able to have clean water in a hospital. It seems basic, but it really does make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Think about having even an older person, but they've got a wound. And, you don't want contaminated water getting anywhere near that wound, but that's not a reality for a lot of people, too many people around the world. So this is life-saving work that's being done. And we're very grateful to be a part of it and have such faithful partners who've been doing this for so many years. I mean, you could be doing other things with your retirement, but we're glad you're with us. I'm wondering, you all, we've been asking this question throughout the day. If I made you sum up how it feels to be part of Living Waters for the World community, if I made you sum that up in maybe one word or one phrase, what would that be? Joni, I'm wondering what word. I'm springing this on you, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering what word. You can think on that, ponder that.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. And Bob, I'd ask you the same question as well. Yeah.
One word, huh?
Yeah, one word or phrase.
She allows a phrase as well. You can go for a phrase.
Yeah, we've had someone share a Bible verse, and we've heard some really good words today.
I maybe have to say joyful. It is a joy. It's hard work sometimes, but hard work can be a joy too, especially when you're engaged with somebody that you love in that hard work. So yeah, my word's joy.
How
about you, Bob?
Well, I think I'd have to come up with blessed. I feel very blessed to be surrounded by so many like-minded folks on our team that have done as much or more than I have to forward these projects. I feel blessed to be surrounded by all the wonderful folks at Living Waters for the World that have trained our team and that have, encouraged us and assisted us in many different ways. I feel blessed to have been able to meet so many wonderful folks down in Guatemala. And especially the Living Water staff down there that work so closely with our team to, we just wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. And I'm so blessed to meet and be a part and connect with our operating partners that they do the hard work every day. And it's just so rewarding to me and continually reminds me of just how blessed I am to live in this country and not have to worry about clean water.
Yeah.
Sure. And talking about that Guatemala staff, Bob, Rubenia is watching us right now, and she wrote in our comment section, "Greetings from Guatemala. We enjoyed working with Bob and his team, and greetings to Joni as well, an excellent educator."
Hey.
Hey, Rubenia. Hope to see you pretty soon.
That's right. She was
Yeah.
on with us earlier today. I don't know if you saw Bob. She and Hannah
I
were
did,
on.
yes.
Yes. Oh, and we had a little baby fest going on because
Yeah.
Doug's daughter Amalia was on as well. And yeah, it's that next generation. It's great to see kids growing up as God intended,
Yeah.
with love and surrounded by support, and families being able to having the access to something as simple that we do take it for granted. Sometimes we have to be reminded of our blessings. Something is that seems as simple to us as purified water, but when you think about water and all the ways it can become contaminated, we have to take care of that. We have to pay attention to that God intended for us to be mindful of that part of creation, and to take care of it. So
Sometimes
speaking, yeah, go ahead, Joni.
I was just, as you spoke, I often hear statistics about the number of people who die from contaminated water diseases. But we never hear the much, much greater number of people who live their lives compromised every day, and especially children who will never be able to achieve their God-given potential because they're sick all the time. And the toll that takes on a developing body and brain is unimaginable. So rather than think about all the deaths that occur, I want us to also remember what those still living, but living in reduced situations.
That is so very true. And I appreciate you bringing that up. We know that especially those first 3 years of life, there's a whole lot that is going on developmentally during that time, the brain development, different organs developing. And when you can have access to the best food
Yes.
the earth can provide, but if you have rotten water, that food will do you no good. You will not absorb the nutrients that are there. They'll just go right through you. And we've all had to deal with that at different times in our lives, and how miserable that can make you. Well, imagine if that's just your life. Now, that's why we do the work that we do. We don't want anyone to have to live that way and to just contend with that day after day after day of, as I hear some people call it, just living with runny tummy. And it's not how we were meant to live, especially a little one where it's very, very dangerous. For that to happen, it can, quickly, the baby can get very dehydrated. So I'm so glad that we have folks who are paying attention to this, who care, and they're giving of their treasure, they're giving of their time, their talent, all the expertise. I have a video that I'd like to share of an operator. And this is, again, Wanji Hall in Cardenas, Cuba. And this was something that the kids at the Bible study last weekend did. They went and visited the operator, just went around the corner from where they sang their song and did their Bible study. And there was the operator. She was serving people that day. And so we're going to get to see a little bit of a run through that she gave the children so that they know what the system is how it produces the purified water.
Es la que hace que el agua circule por toda esa tubería, pase a un segundo tanque, y para eso hacemos esto. Primero, sacamos el aire de estos filtros, como ven, y aquí tenemos otro filtro. Se abre esta llave. ¿Qué cosa es un filtro, maestra? ¿Qué es un filtro? ¿De qué son esos filtros? Bueno, esos filtros son de... Hay un filtro de sedimentos, ¿eh? De sedimentos, donde se queda todo el agua. Sí. Todas las impurezas del agua se quedan aquí, y entonces el agua pasa limpia hacia el otro tanque. Subimos este breque. ¿Y qué cosa es ese aparato raro, blanco que está ahí al lado del breque? Este aparato que está aquí es el ozono. ¿O qué? Ozono, ¿no? Sí. Bajamos el breque, cerramos esta llave y cerramos esta otra llave y ya. ¡Wow! ¡Aplausos para la...
I love me some puppets. I'm going to get a puppet. I think we need a little hand puppet. Don't you think, Joni? A little hand puppet, clean water.
Great
We'll come up.
idea.
Yeah, we'll come up with something there.
Yeah.
I love that. That was the pastor, Alison, who'd been playing the guitar, who became the puppet master as well. But I love that because you think about the kids. Well, that's the next generation of operators. And as we've said, we've had some systems that have been in place 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's a whole nother generation. We heard earlier today that we have some of the same operators that began maybe back in 2010, 2006, 2007. The same operator is there. Now, that's a long obedience in the same direction.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have a few of those cases. Joni has a few of those cases in Yucatan.
Really?
I'd say a few clowns we got there.
Yeah, we do.
They don't need the puppet. They provide the entertainment themselves.
Clowns are good.
They do.
I'm thinking Escolik, right? And
We
Carlos.
visited Escudillo this visit, and he's still a clown. And it was Carlos out clowning Santiago and Santiago out clowning Carlos, and it's very entertaining.
So it's a contest.
They're serious about their work with the water system, but they're joyful and happy and clowning most of the time.
Yeah. So Bob, how about you with your partnerships, your organization, your church and Rotary combined? Do you have some of the same operators that you had, say, back maybe from the early days of the install when the system first went in?
Some of them are, and some of them were right up until just very recently. And one of them that comes to mind is a fellow named Walter, who was the operator in San Sebastian. And Walter retired from that just, I think, a year or two ago. But that system was installed in 2009. And Walter was featured on one of your all's videos that when Steve Young was down in Guatemala. He visited Walter and his family and shared a little of that story. But he was one of our long-term operators. And we've had others too. We've got a system in San Rafael Petzl that has been going ever since 2008. And that system has recently been overhauled. We assisted financially to get them some new valves and filters and so forth that was badly needed. They needed to do that so that they could renew their national sanitary license. They were one of the very first operating partners that we had to get their national sanitary license, which is not an easy thing to do in Guatemala. And so, yes, we've had some folks that have hung in there for many, many years.
Those rehabs, refurbishing a system, bringing it maybe back from, maybe it went offline, bringing it back online so that it's serving again. That's huge, and it's happening all over. It's like anything else. You can tend to it very lovingly and take care of it, and you're still going to have to replace maybe some really big parts and maybe do a bit of a major overhaul. Joni, I know you've done some of that in the Yucatan.
We've done a lot of that in the Yucatan, and part of that is because it's the oldest network in Living Waters for the World, and so we have the oldest systems, of course. But surprisingly, even those old ones want desperately to stay operating. And they do. And we have a lot of operators that have been there since the start. It's really a joy to tell them that we love you as much as the brand new ones. And that's really what it's about. It's like you wouldn't give your one child a very expensive present and then tell the other child that they had one years ago and they don't deserve it now. So it's a partnership. And so we want them all to stay where they need to be. And there's a big difference between the technology that we first installed in 2004 and now in 2024, 20 years later, it's a lot different, as Doug can confirm. And it's better because we learn and we listen. And these newer systems will last longer than the older ones without a necessity of a rehab. So yeah, it's just as rewarding. In fact, in some ways more so when you do a rehab, because you already have a relationship with those folks and now you're going back to it. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah, our team just did a bit of a rehab with a partner whom we decided, we were not original partners, but we decided to become partners together. They decided to take us as a partner and we said yes to them. And at first they did go offline. They had some real issues. And the pastor at that church, I was only thinking of getting them back online. And I said, what parts do you need? We can help you with parts. We can help get you back online. She said, we don't need parts. We need a partner. And I said, Kendall, get with the big vision. That, of course, it's not about short term. It's about long term. And we said, please, if you will have us as your partner, we would love to work with you. And it was a hard week. And they're very well equipped. They could have probably managed all of this on their own with a little assistance from us in purchasing some things, but they wanted us right beside them for this glorious week of visiting, getting to know one another. We had some new people with us, which you all do a good job of tucking new people with you, Bob. I know you have tucked several new people on and letting them experience and go and see for themselves what it's like to be part of a water partnership in Guatemala or in the Yucatan. It's very important.
Well, we're constantly looking for new folks on the team. Most of us that started out are getting too old. And in fact, many of them have said that's the last time they're going to travel. So we've got to find new blood if we're going to keep it going.
Yeah,
it does happen. It does happen. So we have to train our replacement. Nobody can go anywhere until we train our replacements, maybe even after that. Oh, we're grateful for you all. I want to point out that we have representatives from the two first Living Waters for the World networks that we had, Yucatan and Guatemala. They go back quite a ways, and we're very, very grateful. Someone was, pitched that very first tent and said, let's do this and let's do it together. Let's connect with other nearby communities. We have other networks that are a little bit newer. Peru, for example, Doug's been involved with the Peru network. Tell me what's a quick update about Peru, Doug.
Yeah, so Peru, right now we're currently planning our partners conference. It'll be our first partners conference in 5 years. COVID really did a number for the Peru network. Going back to the whole sanitary license, that's something that we're facing in Peru right now. When COVID hit, it wasn't a big deal to have it, but what happened was the government shut down all what they called non-essential businesses. And because our water systems didn't have a sanitary license, they couldn't be considered essential. So basically for the whole COVID period, our systems were shut down. They just couldn't operate. So we've had a big work recently trying to get a bunch of systems back online with parts and education, that kind of stuff. So we've done great work there and put us into a position to do regional conferences this September, kind of like what Guatemala does, and get everyone back together and get some fellowship going on there as well.
That's great. Peru is a newer network for us. And so coming alongside each other there. We have a number of partners who are very dedicated to their partnerships in Peru. Also, speaking of rehabs, I know some of the updates that we've gotten from the Dominican Republic have involved dormant systems that got rehabbed and reactivated, which is as much, if not more, to be celebrated than a brand spanking new partnership that coming back online for whatever reason when they were off. But we have is working together in innovative ways, many churches coming together to form a water partnership, because it's quite a lift, isn't it? And however we can work together, if that's a single church, a single Rotary Club, or a whole bunch of churches coming together maybe to support that. I know, Joni, your partnerships have been a whole presbytery, a group of churches in a geographic area.
Yeah. As you mentioned, the health department, I remember years and years ago when Living Waters said, well, there won't be any problem with health departments. I mean, we're doing a good thing. They'll just be so happy that we're there, and we're going to provide clean water for their people. Well, think again. They have health departments, and those health departments are supposed to do their job. And how arrogant it was for us to think that we shouldn't have to obey the regulations that they have. And so that was a real come to Jesus moment, so to speak, when we realized, yeah, we do have to comply with everything that's legal in that country. So we did, and we do. And it's not infrequent that we get closed down for a while because the health department either finds something actually in error, and also sometimes when they just want to find something. And so it's a back and forth with the health department. Bob, I'm sure you have that too in Guatemala.
We have, yes.
Yeah. But, it's a dance.
That's right. We figure it out together, and we share the learnings so that we can do a better job. We want to be better stewards and better partners. So we keep working towards that. I am so glad that we had this time together tonight. And I want to thank you all for coming on. I know it's a little late where you are, Joni, but you're our night owl. But thank you for spending part of your Friday evening with us, part of your World Water Day with us. So I'd like to check in. Emily's going to give us an update on who's given and where we are as of going on 9 p.m. Central Time. And so Emily will share the giving link one more time in the comments. We just ask you to share that link, invite your friends, invite your family to give today as well. And it doesn't matter how much you give, if it's $5, if it's 500, something in between, it'll all get multiplied today. And that's how we're going to reach that $25,000 matching amount that we have. So, we've seen a lot of videos today. We've received a lot of updates from all over. We had our Living Waters for the World babies, that next generation. We've enjoyed talking with you all, our partners, and it really is exciting to think about that vision that God has, where we'll be in 5 years or 10 years. But 2024 is looking very, very hopeful. So we're grateful for the joy, for the blessing, the words that we've heard today. I want to give a quick shout out to some folks who've given in recently. Dick and Robert and Nancy and Bill, as well as Steve. And I want to let you all know that we are now at $21,490. So we're doing it. We're doing it together. The Living Waters for the World community is the best, and it's growing. So thanks everyone. You all are our heroes, and we're going to post updates so that you all know how we did together. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Happy World Water Day, everybody.
Thank you.
See you later.
Happy World Water Day.
Recording stopped.